Dr. Mina Park worked late in her small office at the Seoul Research Center. Rain hit the windows as she typed on her computer. She was tired, but her work was important. The government wanted her to study old alien technology that crashed on Earth 20 years ago. Mina opened a new file on her computer. The words Project Genesis Level 9 Classification appeared on her screen. Her heart beat faster. She was not supposed to see this file. But her curiosity was too strong. The first document showed pictures of a strange building. It looked like a hospital, but the equipment was different. Some machines looked human-made. Others were clearly alien. The date on the photos was from 22 years ago. Mina read the first report carefully. Earth had made a secret deal with aliens called the Vortak Empire. The aliens wanted to help humans become stronger and smarter. In return, they wanted to study human DNA and behavior. The project created 13 children in the lab. These children were not born naturally. Scientists mixed human DNA with alien technology. The goal was to make super soldiers who could fight better than any normal human. But Mina discovered the real truth as she read more files. The aliens lied to the human scientists. They did not want to help Earth. They wanted to create weapons that would destroy Earth's military from the inside. One child was special. The files called her Subject 7. She was stronger and smarter than the others. Her reflexes were 3 times faster than normal humans. Her brain could process information like a computer. The aliens planned to use her to kill Earth's military leaders when she grew up. Mina found photos of Subject 7 as a baby. The child had black hair and dark eyes. She looked like any other Korean baby, but the medical reports showed she was different. Her DNA was 40% human and 60% something else. The files revealed that Subject 7 had a secret name now. Captain Yoona Kim of the Korean Special Forces. Mina's hands shook as she read this. She knew that name. Captain Kim was famous in the military. She had saved hundreds of lives in combat missions. She was a hero. Mina read about the night everything changed. 20 years ago the lab caught fire. The official report said it was an accident. But a hidden security video told a different story. In the video, Mina watched a Korean soldier walk through the lab corridors. He wore the uniform of Master Sergeant Woo. He was part of the security team that protected the lab. But that night he was not protecting it. He was destroying it. Sergeant Woo moved from room to room setting explosives. In one room, Mina saw 13 small beds with children sleeping in them. The sergeant carefully lifted each child and carried them to safety outside the building. The audio from the video was clear. Sergeant Woo spoke into his radio. "Command, this is Woo. I have discovered the real purpose of Project Genesis. The aliens are not our friends. They are creating weapons to destroy us from within. I am evacuating the subjects and destroying the facility." His commander's voice crackled back. "Negative, Sergeant. Return to your post immediately." "Sorry, sir. I swore an oath to protect humanity. That includes these children." Sergeant Woo turned off his radio and continued his work. The building exploded 30 minutes later. Official reports said all the children died in the accident. But Mina now knew the truth. Sergeant Woo had saved them all. More files showed what happened next. The 13 children were given new identities. Their memories of the lab were erased using alien technology. They were placed with different military families across Korea. Sergeant Woo adopted Subject 7 personally. He gave her the name Yoona Kim. He raised her like his own daughter in the military base where he worked. Mina found Sergeant Woo's personal notes about raising Yoona. Day 847. Yoona's reflexes are incredible, but I teach her to think before acting. A good soldier protects others, not just wins fights. Day 1205. Yoona asked why she feels different from other children. I told her everyone is different, but what matters is choosing to use your differences to help people. Day 2190. Yoona graduated top of her military academy class. She chose to join special forces to save lives, not take them. The aliens wanted to kill her. Instead, they got to protect her. The final entry made Mina's eyes water. Day 7300. Yoona received her captain rank today. 20 years ago, she was designed to be Earth's destroyer. Now she is Earth's defender. The aliens made one mistake. They thought they could program a human heart. But a soldier's heart cannot be programmed. It must be earned through love, sacrifice, and brotherhood. Mina leaned back in her chair. Captain Yoona Kim had no idea about her real origins. She believed she was a normal human who just happened to be very good at being a soldier. But as Mina read the final classified report, her blood turned cold. Deep space monitors had detected alien ships moving toward Earth. The Vortak Empire was returning after 20 years. They were coming to collect their weapons. They expected to find 13 program killers ready to destroy Earth's defenses. Instead, they would find 13 Korean soldiers who had learned the most dangerous lesson of all. They had learned to fight for something greater than themselves. The warning sirens screamed across every military base in Korea at the same time. Captain Yoona Kim was teaching combat tactics to new recruits when the first alarm sounded. She stopped mid-sentence and looked at the red lights flashing on the walls. "All units report to stations immediately," came the voice over the speakers. "This is not a drill." Kim's squad ran to the command center with her. Sergeant Jean was already there, staring at the radar screens. Dozens of large objects had appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. They were too big to be satellites and too advanced to be human-made. "Captain, look at this," said Corporal Bay, pointing at his communication equipment. "Every device on the planet is receiving the same signal. It's some kind of pattern." The pattern appeared on every screen in the base. Swirling lights moved in perfect circles while strange sounds played from the speakers. Kim watched the display and felt something stir in the back of her mind. The pattern seemed important, but she could not remember why. 300 kilometers above Earth, the Vortak command ship held position. Commander Zhao stood before a massive screen showing the planet below. After 20 years of waiting, the time had finally come to collect their weapons. "Status report," Zhao commanded his officers. "All 13 subjects are receiving the activation signal," replied his science officer. "Brainwave monitoring shows the programming is beginning to unlock. Subject 7 should activate within minutes." Zhao smiled with satisfaction. Subject 7 was their masterpiece. She had been designed to be the perfect infiltrator, trusted by human military leaders. Once activated, she would eliminate Earth's defense commanders, making invasion simple. Back in the command center, Kim suddenly grabbed her head as sharp pain shot through her brain. Images flashed in her mind that made no sense. She saw herself as a baby in a white laboratory. Strange creatures with gray skin looked down at her through glass. "Captain, are you okay?" Jean asked, moving closer to help. The pain grew stronger. More memories appeared. Kim saw scientists injecting her with glowing liquid. She heard voices speaking in a language she somehow understood. "This one will be our greatest success. She will destroy their military from within." Kim fell to one knee as the alien programming fought to take control of her mind. The voices grew louder, commanding her to obey. She felt her hand moving toward her sidearm without her permission. "I have to kill you all," she whispered, her voice not sounding like her own. "It is my purpose. I was made for this." But Jean did not step back. Instead, he knelt beside her and put his hand on her shoulder. "No, you weren't. You were made to protect people. I've watched you save hundreds of lives." "You don't understand," Kim said, fighting against the programming. "I'm not human. I'm their weapon." Bay and the other soldiers heard her words but did not run away. They formed a circle around their captain, their weapons pointed outward, ready to defend her from any threat. "Human or not, you're our captain," said Private Lee. "You pulled me out of that burning building in Busan. You carried Bay for 5 kilometers when he broke his leg. Your family." The alien voices in Kim's head grew angry and more demanding. They sensed stronger signals, trying to force her to complete her mission. But 20 years of military training had taught her something the aliens never expected. She remembered Master Sergeant Wu's voice from her childhood. "When enemies try to break your mind, you hold on to what you know is true. Your brothers beside you. Your duty to protect. Your choice to do right." Kim started reciting her military oath, the words Sergeant Wu had made her memorize. "I solemnly swear to defend my country and protect the innocent. I will never abandon my fellow soldiers. I choose duty over self." Each word pushed back against the alien programming. The foreign voices became weaker and more distant. On the command ship, alarms began sounding. "Commander," the science officer reported with panic, "Subject 7's programming is failing. She's resisting the activation sequence." "That's impossible," Zhao replied. "We designed the programming before her personality formed. Nothing should override it." "Sir, her brain patterns show strong emotional bonds with her unit. The human attachment response is stronger than our calculations predicted." Zhao watched the data with growing anger. The humans had somehow corrupted his perfect weapon by teaching her to care about others. The programming that should have made her a killer was being defeated by simple friendship. In the command center, Kim stood up slowly. Her head still hurt, but the alien voices were almost gone. She looked at her squad, these men who had risked everything to help her fight an enemy they could not even see. I remember who I really am now, she said, her voice strong again. I'm Captain Yuna Kim of the Korean Special Forces. And I protect my people. She picked up her rifle and checked her equipment. Jean, get me a direct line to all military commanders. If there are others like me, they're fighting this same battle right now. We need to help them remember who they chose to become. The Vorthack had expected instant success. Instead, they discovered that human loyalty could not be programmed or controlled. They had created a weapon, but soldiers had forged that weapon into something unbreakable. Captain Kim knew they could not stay at the base. Within hours of breaking free from the alien programming, strange reports came from around the world. Military commanders were being killed by their most trusted officers. Someone was hunting down anyone who knew about Project Genesis. We have to leave now, Kim told her squad. If I can remember everything, so can the others like me. And some of them might not be fighting the programming. Sergeant Jean packed their emergency gear while Corporal Bay destroyed their communication records. They could not let anyone track where they were going. Kim had a plan, but it meant going against direct orders from their own government. They left the base in a stolen truck just before midnight. Kim drove through the mountains while her squad kept watch for followers. She remembered something from her recovered memories, an old safe house that Sergeant Wu had shown her years ago. The safe house was hidden in an abandoned factory outside Seoul. When they arrived, Kim found exactly what she hoped for, a secret room behind a false wall. Inside were files, weapons, and a computer that Sergeant Wu had prepared for this day. He knew this would happen, Kim said, reading through the documents. He knew the aliens would come back. The files revealed the truth about all 13 enhanced subjects. Their names, locations, and the families who raised them. Kim felt sick when she saw the news reports from the past day. 7 of them were already dead, killed while trying to fight the alien programming. But 3 others were still alive and fighting back. Taemin was hiding in Busan. Hana Seoul was somewhere in the mountains near the DMZ. Like Kim, they had been raised by military families and had learned to resist mental attacks. Look at this, Jean said, pointing at another file. The ones who broke their programming all have something in common. They were raised by soldiers, not civilians. Kim studied the pattern. The enhanced subjects raised by normal families had no training to fight mental control. When the aliens activated them, they became perfect assassins within minutes. But the military-raised subjects had learned discipline, loyalty, and how to resist interrogation. The computer screen suddenly flashed with an emergency message. Someone was using Sergeant Wu's private communication system. A face appeared, a young man with frightened eyes. Is anyone there? This is Taemin. I'm in Busan, but alien agents are hunting me. I killed 3 of them, but more keep coming. I need help. Kim quickly typed back, this is Yuna. I'm like you. Where can we meet safely? The old naval base near Houndy Beach. Building 7, basement level. But hurry, they're getting closer. Kim turned to her squad. I can't ask you to come with me. This isn't your fight. Jean stood up and checked his rifle. Captain, we followed you through worse situations. We're not stopping now. They drove through the night toward Busan. Kim felt guilty putting her squad in danger, but she also felt proud. These men were risking their lives to help someone they had never met, just because their captain asked them to. When they reached the naval base, they found Taemin hiding in the basement. He was hurt but alive. Kim could see the family resemblance. They had the same enhanced features, the same quick reflexes. How many others are left? Kim asked. Just us and Hannah, Taemin replied sadly. The rest? They completed their missions before dying. The aliens don't need them alive once they kill their targets. Jean was watching the entrance when he saw lights approaching fast. We have company. 3 vehicles moving fast. The alien agents looked almost human, but their movements were too quick and precise. They surrounded the building within seconds. Kim realized these were not the gray-skinned aliens from her memories. These were human collaborators who had been enhanced by alien technology. They're not here to capture us, Kim said, understanding the situation immediately. They're here to clean up loose ends. The aliens don't want any evidence of Project Genesis to survive. The first explosions shook the building. The agents were using advanced weapons that cut through concrete like paper. Kim and her team had minutes before the whole structure would collapse. There's a tunnel system that connects to the harbor, Taemin said. But it's underwater at high tide. Kim looked at her watch. They had no choice. Jean, get the emergency breathing gear. We're going swimming. As they prepared to escape through the flooded tunnels, Kim realized the full scope of what was happening. The aliens were not just collecting their weapons, they were destroying all evidence that Project Genesis ever existed. But they had made a mistake. They thought 13 enhanced humans would be easy to control or eliminate. They had not planned for what would happen when those weapons learned to think for themselves and fight as a team. The hunt was just beginning and Kim was no longer running away. She was gathering allies for the real battle ahead. Kim's squad moved through the empty streets of Seoul at dawn. The city was under martial law after 3 more military commanders died during the night. Alien agents were hunting the remaining enhanced subjects while the programmed ones continued their deadly missions. From their hidden position on a rooftop, Kim watched through binoculars as Ho Sung prepared to attack a refugee center. Ho was one of the enhanced subjects who had been activated successfully. He moved like a machine, checking his weapons with cold precision. "He's going to kill 300 innocent people," whispered Tae-min. "We have to stop him." Kim studied Ho's behavior through her scope. She remembered him from the laboratory memories. They had been in beds next to each other as babies. Now he was programmed to be a perfect killer, but she could see something else in his movements. "No," Kim said slowly. "We're going to save him." Sergeant Jean looked at her with concern. "Captain, he's been fully activated. The alien programming is complete. He won't listen to reason." "Maybe not to words," Kim replied. "But there's another way to reach him." Kim had studied the files about each subject carefully. Ho had been raised by a civilian family in Daegu. Good people, but they could not teach him what military families taught their children. He had learned to be smart and strong but not how to fight as part of a team. "Here's the plan," Kim explained to her squad. "We don't try to capture Ho or fight him directly. Instead, we show him something he's never seen before, how real soldiers work together." They moved into position around the refugee center. Kim's team spread out but stayed in constant communication. Each person knew exactly where the others were and what they were doing. This was military teamwork at its finest. Ho entered the building through the main entrance, his enhanced senses detecting no immediate threats. His programming told him to eliminate the building's security first, then move to the main refugee area. But as he moved through the corridors, strange things began happening. Doors opened and closed by themselves. Lights turned on and off in patterns. Voices echoed from empty rooms, speaking in perfect coordination. "Target approaching from your 6, came Jin's voice over hidden speakers. "Copy that." "Moving to intercept," replied Bei's voice from another direction. "I have eyes on the package." "Ready for extraction," added Lee. Ho stopped moving. These voices were not panicked or afraid. They were calm, professional, working together like parts of a machine. His programming told him to ignore distractions and complete his mission, but something deeper was responding to what he heard. Kim appeared at the end of the hallway, her hands empty and visible. "Hello, Ho. I know you remember me." Ho raised his weapon immediately, his programming demanding he eliminate all threats. But Kim did not run or hide. She just stood there, completely calm. "You were designed to be a perfect assassin," Kim continued. "But I was designed the same way. The difference is what we learned after we left the laboratory." "I must complete my mission," Ho said, his voice flat and emotionless. "You will not stop me." "I'm not here to stop you," Kim replied. "I'm here to show you something." At that moment, Jean appeared behind Ho with perfect timing. But instead of attacking, he simply said, "Captain, civilian evacuation is complete. Building is secure." Bei's voice came through the radio. "Perimeter is locked down. No hostile contacts detected." Lee reported next, "Medical team standing by. Ready for casualty extraction if needed." Ho turned his head, confused. These soldiers were not fighting him, they were working around him as if he was part of their team. His programming had prepared him for combat, resistance, and fear. It had not prepared him for acceptance. "This is what they couldn't program into us," Kim explained. "Trust. Loyalty. The willingness to risk everything for people you care about." She gestured to her squad members positioned throughout the building. "These men have followed me through impossible battles. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. They're not just my soldiers, they're my family." Ho's weapon began to shake in his hands. The alien programming was fighting against something new, the desire to belong, to be part of something greater than himself. "I can feel them in my head," Ho said, his voice becoming more human. "The aliens. They're telling me to kill you all." "Then don't listen to them," Kim said simply. "Listen to us instead." Jean stepped forward slowly, his weapon lowered. "You don't have to fight alone anymore. We're here." Bei moved into position beside Jean. "Whatever those voices are telling you, we're telling you something different. You belong with us." Lee joined them, completing the circle around Ho. "Brothers don't abandon brothers. Ever." Ho looked at each face surrounding him. For the first time in his life he was seeing what the military families had given to Kim, Tae, and Hannah: unconditional loyalty and acceptance. The alien voices in his head grew weaker as human voices grew stronger. Ho slowly lowered his weapon and fell to his knees, finally free from the programming that had controlled him. "Welcome home, brother," Kim said, helping him stand up. The aliens had created perfect weapons, but they had forgotten something important. Weapons work alone. Soldiers work together. And together they were much more dangerous than any programming could ever make them. The massive alien ship hung over Seoul like a dark cloud. Kim and her enhanced squad stood on the roof of the tallest building in the city, watching enemy fighters patrol the sky. Earth's military forces were losing badly. The aliens had superior technology and numbers. "The command ship is our only target that matters," Kim told her team. "If we can destroy their leadership, the rest of the fleet will retreat." Jean checked his equipment one more time. "Captain, how do we even get inside that thing?" Kim smiled and pointed to a small shuttle craft approaching the city. "We steal their own transportation. Tae, can you fly one of those?" "I can fly anything," Tae replied confidently. His enhanced reflexes made him the perfect pilot for impossible missions. The alien shuttle landed at the destroyed airport to collect intelligence reports. Kim's squad moved fast and silent, taking out the alien crew without raising any alarms. Within minutes, they were flying toward the command ship in a stolen enemy vessel. On the bridge of the massive ship, Commander Zal studied reports from the surface. Earth's resistance was crumbling exactly as planned. Soon the planet would surrender completely. "Commander," his science officer reported, "one of our shuttles is returning early from the Seoul mission. Probably bringing good news about the human surrender," Zhao replied without looking up from his strategic displays. The shuttle docked in the main hangar bay. Security scanners showed the correct alien identification codes. No alarms sounded as Kim and her team stepped out wearing stolen enemy uniforms. "Remember," Kim whispered to her squad, "they expect me to fight like an assassin, alone, silent, efficient. Instead we fight like soldiers." They moved through the ship corridors with perfect military precision. Jean took point, clearing corners and watching for threats. Bei covered their rear, making sure no enemies could surprise them. Ho and Tae watched the flanks while Kim coordinated everything through hand signals. The aliens they encountered expected to face a single infiltrator sneaking through shadows. Instead, they found themselves fighting a coordinated military unit that moved like one person with many bodies. "Security alert," came announcements throughout the ship. "Intruders detected in Section 7. All units respond." But Kim's team was already gone, moving through maintenance tunnels that Jean had mapped during their approach. They fought when necessary but always as a unit, always covering each other. Commander Zhao reached the bridge security center as reports poured in. "How many intruders are there?" he demanded. "Uncertain, sir. They appear to be everywhere at once. Our forces cannot pin them down." Zhao studied the security footage with growing anger. He recognized the lead intruder immediately. "That is Subject 7. But this is not how she was programmed to fight." The alien commander watched Kim's team work together with deadly efficiency. They communicated without words, trusted each other completely, and moved with a unity that no amount of genetic enhancement could create. "She should be working alone," Zhao muttered. "Assassins work alone. Why does she have a team?" His science officer looked confused. Perhaps the human military training modified her programming somehow. Kim and her squad reached the bridge level after 40 minutes of fighting through the ship. They had lost no one and completed every objective perfectly. Now came the hardest part. "There," Kim pointed at the massive blast doors protecting the bridge. "Once we go through there, this becomes a one-way mission." Jean reloaded his weapon and looked at his captain. "We knew that when we volunteered. No soldier left behind, right?" The blast doors exploded inward as Kim's team breached the bridge with military explosives. They moved in perfect formation, each person covering a different sector, their weapons trained on every possible threat. Commander Zhao stood in the center of the bridge, surrounded by his officers. He looked at Kim with a mixture of pride and confusion. "Subject 7, he said formally. "You have exceeded all expectations. But why do you fight with these inferior humans instead of taking your rightful place as our enforcer?" Kim kept her weapon aimed at his chest. "Because you made one mistake. You thought you could program a human heart. We removed your human weaknesses," Zhao replied. "We made you perfect." "No," Kim said, her squad maintaining perfect defensive positions around her. "You made me strong. But Sergeant Wu made me human. These soldiers made me part of a family." Ho stepped forward, his own weapon ready. I was your perfect assassin for 3 days. But they showed me something better than perfection. They showed me brotherhood. Zhao looked around at the 5 humans surrounding him. Each one was willing to die for the others without hesitation. This was not how weapons were supposed to behave. You were designed to conquer this planet, Zhao said desperately. We gave you power beyond human imagination. You gave us bodies, Te replied. But soldiers gave us souls. Kim moved closer to the alien commander. Here's what you never understood. Humans don't fight because we have to. We fight because we choose to protect what we love. She gestured to her squad. These men followed me into certain death not because of programming but because of trust. You can't engineer that. You can't program that. You can only earn it. The bridge exploded in light as Kim's team completed their final mission. The command ship's destruction sent a message across the alien fleet that echoed through space. Earth's children could not be turned against their home. The aliens had created the perfect weapons, but they forgot the most important lesson. Weapons break under pressure. Soldiers become stronger when they stand together.